Hello. So this is my walkthrough of my Google site page. So I wanted to start off on why I selected the topic. I selected this topic because one of my little cousins had this condition, and when I was younger, it was very hard to understand how organs can move in this way. When I joined the class, and I knew about that we were going to do this project, I wanted to take the chance and learn more about the disorder, and now even possibly create a site so other people can learn more about the condition. So firstly, on my homepage, I answered what is congenital diaphragmatic hernia. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew the basics. So when other things like gene and more complicated stuff were presented, people are not as confused. This image below just presents the overall shift of abdominal organs into the chest cavity. It gives people an idea of how CDH usually looks like. It's very different in different patients of CDH, but it basically just gives people like the basic idea of how it looks. And below it just shows how common CDH is, and the picture below just shows um, how common it is in different countries, and also reaffirms the idea that I presented up here about that many countries do not document CDH, so there are insufficient studies of CDH. So I'll move now onto the symptoms page, and on the symptoms page, basically, I basically just talk about the description of CDH and what is typically found in CDH patients. Here's the diagnostic process. I showed the live pictures of like MRI patients with CDH and echocardiograms of patients with CDH. And just below is the genetic counseling and risk portion, and it talks about the use of aminocentesis and its jobs in genetic testing. The picture below shows where they take the fluid from and how they take it from the amniotic sac. I know there's like different types of genetic testing, so I just wanted to make sure people are aware of and have an idea of what the process looks like. So now, for the tissue involved, I basically just talk about normal and abnormal development and compare what it looks like in normal people, what it looks like in abnormal people with CDH. The picture below just talks about important embryonic structures and the tissues involved in CDH. And below it just shows the tissues that are affected, such as underdeveloped lungs, shifted heart, and incomplete diaphragm. So now I'll move on to the genes and signaling pathway. In this page, there's all genetic components. There's a lot of information about the genes that are involved in CDH. Below it is there's an image again of the developing diaphragm, so people know what they're reading, and they could reference to like important terms such as like the septum, transversum, or the esophageal mesoderm, so people aren't confused to what they're reading. What else? And then below here, it shows just what happens to the developing diaphragm and when certain genes or functions are disrupted. So now for the treatment page, this is one of my favorite pages because you're able to see all the help that's available to treat CDH. There are some treatments expected, such as respiratory structure, but one treatment I never heard of was FETO, and it's very interesting. The image all the way below shows the process of it and how they insert the balloon, into the lung, and it basically blows up, and they just leave it in for a couple weeks and promotes proper lung development in CDH patients. And then lastly is the research page, which summarizes the research presented. Like in the first figure, it talks about the importance of mesenchymal cells and their role in embryonic structure. And then when these mesenchymal cells are not migrated, it results in CDH. Then the next figure below shows the importance of the Wales tumor gene and how its absence causes disruption in embryonic structures, which leads to CDH. And then the last page is just a reference page.